Welcome to Two Poor Kids. My name is Liz. I use she and her pronouns.
My name's Christian. I use he and him pronouns.
And this is our very first ever podcast. Session 0 is as we play a lot of D&D, and so I think that this is our session 0 and an intro into video and audio podcasting. But this is definitely something that we've thought about and talked about for a long time.
Yeah, a little bit of gonna be doing a little bit of character development.
Nice.
And yeah, I think that we want to start this podcast, among other things, kind of so we can share our journey and talk about our relationship and
parenting and entrepreneurship and
empire building professionalism.
Yeah, and I think a really big piece of our story, individually and collectively, is about breaking generational cycles. And so what does it mean? And we'll talk about this a lot in podcasts to come, but like, what does step up and wiggle mean to us? How are we always making space for others? How are we doing continuous individual learning and like learning as an us? And yeah, and I think that generational piece is so foundational in the things that make us proud. Like it's something that like you all listening will get to know, but we talk about it all the time. And and that there's lots of pieces to that. So for today in session 0, we want you all to get to know us. Like, why should you listen? Why should you like pay 2 cents and give a shit? And I think like to know like this is not going to be a G-rated podcast. I've said it before, but like I drink a lot of tea and I cuss a little.
I drink a lot of pre-workout and I cuss a lot.
That's fair. Yeah. And we're a good balance and we're a good team. And I think we're really in this phase where I talk a lot about like joy and whimsy and like the world needs more things for us to look forward to while we acknowledge that like the world is chaos and a bit shitty, and finding the good in ourselves and the good in other people is fundamental to operate happily.
Yeah. I agree with that. Want to do an intro?
Like who I am?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I am 37.
Nailed it.
I'm 37. And I'm very poor at keeping track of how old I am from my whole life for a long time. And I'm sure that we will get into some of the whys for that in the future podcasts. But I'm a 37-year-old Coug. Yeah, cougar. I graduated from WSU, which we like to say cougar, but Christian is the youngest person I ever dated and the person I chose to marry. He's only a few months younger than me, but
2 days shy of 5 months.
Somebody's counting.
No, sorry, 5 months and 2 days.
So somebody's counting.
Yeah.
Again, he has to keep track of how old we are and our age gap, just in case.
Yeah.
I also am a chaos coordinator by trade. I think every job that I've ever had has linked back to me being like job in the workforce has linked back to me problem solving and building like safe environments for myself and others. And how that's manifested over the past 10 years and currently is that I'm an emergency manager and I am an emergency manager for a school district, which means that I think of all of the worst possible scenarios that could literally ever happen. And then I make plans for it, and then I respond really well to it. And so that is like who I am professionally. But I think more important than who I am professionally and like my college background is like I'm a work in progress. I think that I proudly go to therapy every single week, except for this week, and I'm sure that I'll talk to my therapist about it next week, but I forgot. And I'm wildly fallible. I'm a mom of two. I have currently an 18-year-old, so we just had our oldest. We brought her off to college a few months ago, and our youngest is 4, and they are wildly similar but vastly different. And so the journey of both of those things and through it all is like I'm on this path and have been on this path for years to figure out like who I am and what that means. And I think I'm now in that beginning part of like authentic creativity. And so that's what we're going to learn here together, you and me. And then like all of you listening or watching at home, this podcast is like, we're going to grow together. Like this podcast is not at all about us telling you anything other than like we have something really good together as a unit. And we want other people to have access to how we did it so that they can take the tools that are good for them and keep finding joy and whimsy in the world. I think that I would be remiss to say that like, or to not say that I grew up in a really, really small community, 2,500 people. I think there were 36 people in my graduating class. And I grew up in this small Native community in Northwest Washington. I'm not Native. However, my mom married into a Native family there, and I grew up there. That was my community. That is my community. That's my family. That is all of the things that I've ever known. And when I think of home, I think of Nia Bay, Washington. Like that is where I feel so at peace in the world. Like where when the oceans hit the sand, that's me in my safe and happy space, in my bubble. And so, outside of what we've built here, but we live outside of Portland, and that is a far cry from the coastal town that I grew up in. Those are some of the things that I think are about me. That maybe like trigger warning for the rest of this podcast is that like we will be authentic and transparent, and like that is my dedication to myself first and foremost, is to be so honest. That like I also have a large history with traumatic pasts and abuse and like drugs and alcohol, and all of those things are part of my story in some way or another, and that'll come up. So if you're not interested in hearing about those things, feel free to kick rocks, I suppose.
Or skip episodes.
Or skip an episode, right? That's more reasonable. Come back for more, I suppose. That won't be all we talk about. What about you? How do you find yourself here at this podcasting table next to your beautiful wife in this humble abode?
Well, through several weeks of learning how to do stuff. Yeah, I think about, I have a lot of roles and titles and just descriptors. First and foremost, I am a husband. That is my primary role in life. Nailed it. Not necessarily second to that is I'm a dad and a daddy and daddy and a daddy to a 4-year-old.
Oh, okay.
And a dad to an 18-year-old.
Yeah. Not G-rated. I said that.
And yeah. Also, I blush a lot. And my wife still trips me up.
Never quit flirting with your partner.
Never quit flirting. Rule number, there'll be more rules to come. I think that professionally, I am chemical engineering by degree and a principal engineer currently in my role. I have a team of engineers that report to me, and we build facilities and upgrade them all across the nation and internationally as well. So I'm constantly flying, and there'll be, I'm sure, a 1 or 2 episodes on that and the impact on such.
I'm sure.
We just went through a very long 5 months of me traveling every other week.
It sucked.
It was pretty bad. But prior to that, I have a lifetime full of trigger warnings, trauma, addiction, mental health, all sorts of things. And all those things play at least a little bit of role in our relationship. And part of that is I'm also a person in a 12-step fellowship. I avidly participate in that. Lots of service work and working on myself and helping others work on themselves and doing all those things. I do a lot of service work. I currently volunteer at a middle school, and I teach middle school students engineering and science.
Which started when our now 18-year-old was in middle school, and she graduated middle school and you stayed there.
Yeah. I've been working with the same teacher for about 8 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that sometimes working in a non or for-profit industry, just kind of, there's not always a sense of giving back. So this is kind of like a nice thing that I do. And yeah, now we're small business owners and one day a big business owner. And this is kind of the beginning of our path. And, one of the things that has been true for the past few years, at least, and probably a few more before that, we have a lot of friends that have relationship issues or relationship concerns, and they always look to us as like, how did you do that? How did you get through that? I was working with one of my sponsees last week, and he found himself in a very similar situation that I found myself in 8 years ago. So he had lots of questions, and he's not the only one. So we thought that this would be a good method for that.
Yeah.
Passing down that information.
Yeah. And we talk a lot and have for years. This term that I heard probably about a decade ago, and then I've held on to it, and we've adapted it into ways that we could not have ever predicted, because we try not to limit ourselves to our own idea of what's possible. But step up and wiggle really to us is a phrase that when we were thinking about why podcast and why would anybody want to listen, and is there anything to share? And at the end of the day, if there's nothing to share, I get to spend time with my best friend and talk.
That's
like
right.
we do every single day. So if we have no listeners, or if we have a million listeners, the conversations are going to be the same.
Yeah.
But step up and wiggle for us is when you are in a space, in a place where you have privilege, where you have capability, ability, that you step up and you wiggle around, and then you make room for somebody else by reaching your hand down and lifting them so that they can amplify their voices or their experiences or their situations. And so I think that this is a version of that, is that we want to also talk about things that people have questions about, which is to your point, is that we have friends who have been And what did you do about this? Or what did you do about that? I've had people be like, how did you get Christian to like match clothes with you? So if you're watching this, you would see that I have this super sweet shirt on. It says Rage Against the Machine. And although it sounds like we're talking about the band, we kind of are. We're actually talking about the Portland Protest Frog is here standing in front of the ice building. And it's just it's a badass shirt. And I did not buy matching shirts. I almost never buy the matching clothes. It's Christian who does it, and I'm smitten every time. And he's not matching me tonight, but I'm sure that you will see him wear it another day.
I'm sure.
And so, you know, you keep what you have by giving it away. Like more good in the world produces more good in the world. And I think that it's time for us to spread that joy.
Now, I do want to bring up why we named this Two Poor Kids.
Yeah.
Also, why our Wi-Fi is called Two Poor Kids.
Yeah, if ever you're visiting
Yeah.
on this block, you'll know how to find us.
So you might be surprised to know this. At one point, we were two poor kids.
Oh my gosh. Very poor kids.
And and there's a song by Ruth B. That was kind of like one of our mini anthem songs because I am very avid in the music. Mm-hmm. I know many songs and many bands, and I love music. And one of those songs was Two Poor Kids, and it was just like it had a lot of significant ties to our space at that time. I definitely stole you flowers out of someone's yard, allegedly, potentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, supposedly.
And you know, I had a busted car at one point. It was sweet, by the way.
It was not. I'm sure we can talk about it in a future episode.
It broke down every other week or so, but that's what you get with street racing cars.
That's sure. In another episode, we can talk about the eclipse. There's a whole episode in and of itself linked into our very beginning of our like intimate relationship, which is different than our origin story. Like our origin story was years ahead of us deciding to date.
Yeah.
And Two Poor Kids, and many Ruth B songs, but like music in general is continues to be like one of the songs that we'll stop everything that we're doing and like slow dance to in the kitchen. Right? Never stop flirting with your partner or your partners, like whatever life you're living.
Grab a booty.
Grab a booty. Cop a feel.
Cop a feel.
That music is one of the things that I think most people have songs that they like or songs that they listen to. And I certainly was one of those people. And, but I don't, I think that I don't mentally access music the same way that you do. And when I say that, and this is probably like people will be listening to this and they'll hear how Christian talks about music or how I talk about music, because it will come up. Christian is one of those people who knows music in a split second, can tell you who the band was or the singer was, can tell you what album it's on, probably tell you what shoes he was wearing when he first heard that song. He also knows what year-ish it was about, and I can tell you the words to that song if I know it, and I might not very well know who the artist is. And there are exceptions to that, of course, but like just very different. Maybe going to a concert, it changes my like, oh yes, I'm invested and I know this song and I know this voice. But I'd only been to a few concerts before we dated.
Oh, I corrupted your soul.
Yeah.
You will forever be in a mosh pit.
Mosh pit.
We'll be old as fuck just in mosh pits.
That's fair. Somebody this morning called me the mosh pit queen at work.
Oh.
I was pretty proud.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Which is not something a decade ago I would have. Nobody would ever say that about me. So, if you haven't listened to Ruth B at all, I recommend checking her out. Listen on Tidal or Amazon or
But not Spotify.
in another episode, or wherever you're consuming your music, I suppose. And yeah, if you like good music and to cry and to wonder, songs that like really, really, I think, pulled at our heartstrings and continue to, but remind us of where we came from. That's like so important to everything that we do and the conversations that we have, is like we never want to forget that we also were the people who were on food stamps or were on the maximum amount of food stamps that you could get, who needed like help with subsidies. I used to get help with Christmas presents for our oldest when I was single momming it in college. Like, oh, I didn't say that, but like that's a huge part of the story that we'll talk about at some point too, is that, you know, there were years where like I was a single mom in college before Christian and I decided to date. That was a hard sentence. Decided to date. We did. It was an active decision.
I think that choice was made for us.
By the universe?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. So,
Yeah, there's been many times I've gotten food out of a church pantry, or maybe
not ate at all.
Or not ate at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that we are excited to talk about it all.
Yeah.
And if you're watching us, you'll see that there is like a ton of games behind us, and if you're not, then we'll talk about them sometimes. But if you're like we mentioned D&D at the top, like we play D&D. Christian is a dungeon master, has DM'd most of the games that I've ever played. But we also play a lot of tabletop games. Like we have tabletop game groups that we do games with once a month and stuff. But if you're looking and you're like, ooh, what are those cool games that we have in our background? We'll be rotating these regularly, and we might even do some spin-offs of this podcast to talk about them, or at least you can find us on our socials, Instagram, maybe TikTok, talking about some of these really sweet games, because somebody, mostly Christian, has a Kickstarter addiction.
That's a fact. But it's like Christmas every time that comes.
I know, we forget.
I just forget.
Yep.
Sometimes you don't get a game for a whole year, or even 2. Yep. And then all of a sudden, there's a big old box sitting on the porch.
Yeah, and then we completely forgot about it.
I buy my future self presents regularly.
Is that where this game, if you're watching, there's this game that I keep like looking at over my shoulder. It has like a really beautiful velvety feel to it, and it's called The Fall of Kingdoms, which is, we're not the kind of gamers that play Monopoly, although we technically own at least
Wazoopoly.
We own one Monopoly, the Wazoopoly, but we've never played it.
No.
So
it's too simple.
Was The Fall of Kingdoms Kickstarter?
Yeah.
Along with many, many, many others. Great.
Yeah, I think that we should talk about our commitments to the podcast.
Right. We want you to be committed to us, and we're committed to you, the listeners.
We will always be authentic, and you will always get the true selves. And this is a mostly organic conversation. Sometimes we'll probably prep like points that we want to touch upon, but this is a live recording, but pre-recorded discussion. We're not doing scripts. We're not doing any of that.
Yeah, and because of that, I think that you probably will hear us have discourse, right? Like I hope so, because I think that's one of the things that makes our relationship so strong, is that so often people try to avoid discourse because they confuse discourse with arguments, and like the truth is we don't actually argue, but that doesn't mean that we agree about 100% of things 100% of the time, and we don't have to. Like, I'm always learning from you, and I hope that you learn some things from me too, but that usually happens because we didn't know something, or like all of these years later, I'm still learning things about you. And I think that's pretty cool because we talk all the time.
Many, many car rides.
Many car rides.
I think that another commitment, Liz and I are people who do not run from conflict. And I know that I personally have dedicated many years understanding. I like to understand people
Mm.
and how they think and what they do and why they do the things they do. So if there's something that you don't agree with that we discuss about, feel free to chat us. However, if you come off hostile, we just won't engage.
Yeah, right. So we talk. I talk about this a lot. Like ask questions out of curiosity. Don't be asking questions out of a gotcha. And if you want to, um, that's a choice for sure. However, like we again are not. We're not here to put more drama and negativity into the world. And we want you to ask us questions, but also, like, what I really encourage you all to do is to be free thinkers. And so, like, in order to be a free thinker, and something that we exercise often is, if something is making you uncomfortable, research it. Like, go to a news outlet or to a party, like a website or something that you wouldn't normally go to. I like myself, like I use a lot of international media in order to understand, like, what am I missing? What can't I see from the inside of, like, this country and this newscape? So yes, ask questions. Always feel free to ask questions. We will answer them when we can, but we're human beings and we're fallible, and our dedication is to each other first. And so we're never going to sacrifice our relationship in order to make sure that we answer every single thing, but we'll do our best. And then be a free thinker. Challenge yourself to experience and learn something new, even if it's not in order to change your mind. Maybe especially if you don't think it's going to change your mind, what are the things that we're missing by not having honest conversations with other people with compassion and understanding? You don't have to agree. That doesn't mean that everybody's a shit human. There are some of those, though.
Yeah, and then on top of that, I guess, in to add to that is, if there are things you want to hear about, contact us. Contact us on the socials. That'll be in an intro, I'm sure. Contact us on the email. Like, we want to have discussions, and we want to talk about our experiences, and we also want to talk about what anyone wants to hear about. Mostly.
For the most part, there isn't really things off the table, right? It's like, we'll have it authentically. And if we don't know the answer to things, like, we'll be straight up with you. Like, we'll do research ahead of time if we don't know things, or if we might have some back and forth discourse trying to, like, understand some context with whatever you as the individual are asking about. But, like, if we don't know something, we'll just be like, I don't know. Because that authenticity, I think, is really important to us, is that we're lifelong learners.
Yeah.
And I hope to, for the rest of my life, I hope to reserve the right to change my mind.
Yeah, and we also consistently remain teachable.
Yeah. And also, we have egos. So
That's right.
So sometimes, right? Like,
I am an engineer.
You are an engineer. I do wield chaos.
And a daddy.
Indeed. Cheers to that. But we'll be here. We'll be showing up authentically. We'll hopefully be answering questions, or at least, like, fielding some comments. We promise to add in the good with the bad, or at least the easy questions with the hard ones. And we want to do it consistently. So I think that that's the other piece, is that we hope to post a new episode a few times a month. 10 to 14 days is what I think we're shooting for right now, realistically. But we'll be available on our socials and in our email many
More
times. Yeah,
consistently.
way more consistently than that in between. If you know us personally, please feel free to make coffee dates with us. We actually love people to come and visit, to come and see us. We'll spend a lot of time talking about like found family and why that is so critically important to us. And that those are our people. And that our found family has a mixture of blood and a lot of non-blood related folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zoe and Emma have a lot of uncles.
So many uncles.
All the uncles.
And a few extra aunties.
Boys, look the fuck out. That's what I'm saying. I don't even have to do it anymore.
Can't wait to tell you some stories about
Sometimes I say very cool things.
Wild. Can't wait to tell you all some stories about like when our 18-year-old was going to prom and the whatnots of lessons learned. That's good.
Yeah.
We're kind of funny.
I'm a girl dad. That's
for sure. Yeah. I'm a girl mom. Okay. I think we're good for now.
Yeah.
We're excited. We're excited to keep moving forward. We're excited to be here. And we appreciate y'all listening.
Yep. Nailed it.
Nailed it. I love you.